Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to Kaijutopia. This is Tom. I am in the midst of working on a Godzilla Minus One versus HEDORAH the Smog Monster stop motion. And I thought, you know what? Let's stream. Let's just go for it. Let's just have another cool, chill VFX stream. Let's relax. Let's do what we enjoy. Sean, good to see you, my friend. How are you today? The Kaiju King. Oh man, come on. I look nothing like Godzilla. I mean, maybe there could be a couple resemblances here, but it's all a coincidence. So generally, whenever I'm working on a stop motion, like for instance, I'm also working on a Gamera stop motion project as well, which is kind of it's serving as a fun little imaginative sequel to Gamera 3 Revenge of Iris. It's like easily one of the greatest kaiju films ever made. I'm thinking of not only adding a nice little spin by incorporating Mothra, which is going to be it's going to be a hoot. It's going to be a doozy, let me tell you. I gotta say, every time I start working on these projects, I just once again get a strong I need to go watch these movies again. So I feel like I've watched Gamera 3 like 5 times within the past couple weeks. Been watching Gamera 2 Advent of Legion as well. I mean, just the whole Heisei Gamera trilogy for purely educational entertainment purposes, right? Okay. So, I guess right now I'm feeling like sometime later today I should go watch Godzilla Minus One again, because it's been a while. And by a while, I mean it really hasn't been too long, but I do have to brace myself when I do that, because Godzilla Minus One is just so intense, such a visceral experience. Like, I feel like I'm all in every time I give it a go, you know? So in this shot, let's zoom out a little bit. Reduce the resolution so my computer doesn't die from the over. So we got Godzilla's head here. It's a very strange thing to look at just by itself. When he's going back and forth, I just worked on adding some eyes, make sure they glow. It's just something that I love to do, even though it probably was unnecessary. And behind him is the rest of his body, which, you know, I'm gonna remove the green screen here in a second. I understand it looks a little weird, but the goal is to simulate Godzilla swimming through the water. And while in this shot I'm not having him like chasing after a boat, that could be a cool thing to add sometime later. But yeah. Sean says, I'm doing fine. Actually got into a discussion in a kaiju Discord server about how Destroya is not the fraud some kaiju fans think he is. I mean, just about every kaiju character you can imagine. I mean, not just kaiju, but just a strong OP character in general will inevitably have a individual or a group that believe it is it's weak, it's inherently weak, it's not really that strong, it's all fanboy nonsense or something. I mean, it is what it is, you know. I mean, even though I think there are some characters that everyone thinks is OP that I don't think is OP, or I don't really think they're anywhere nearly as strong as people claim, like, the reverse is also true, you know. You're also going to get a group of people who just absolutely 100% hate this character or believe they are not really that cool or strong. So this transition right here, I know it might be a little weird, but it was just hard to like... Okay, so for the editing side of things, I know I was just responding to something Sean just said. So if the segue seems a little weird, that's because it is. But it's a segue. I'm going back to the whole VFX editing portion here. So right here, we see Godzilla, his head just weirdly changes. These two shots were recorded separately. This right here I recorded this morning. And this was from the other day, more like the other night. I pulled an all-nighter trying to get a lot of this, because it's one of those things where I was literally just lying in bed when I should have been sleeping, and I had all these ideas that I wanted to do, and normally I would try to write them down because, so you know, I don't forget them, or doodle, do a quick little storyboard treatment, or just type it or write it down as a note. But like, I had nothing near me, so immediately I'm like, I'm gonna go up, everyone's asleep, everything's fine, so I'm gonna go and just do my thing. So I go in, get the stop motion studio all set, get things going, and yeah, so I got a lot of good stop motion recording done. But this part right here, I had done it separately, and it was like just me essentially holding the Godzilla's head up. And I would like twirl, go back and forth, and it looked fine at first, but then, you know, realized, oh man, just due to its closeness to the camera lens and the fact that I'm using my hand to turn it, the contortion, there's a lot of shaking to it that even with a warp stabilizer, it just looked weird. So I had to go back this morning, and you know, this time I was, you know, it wasn't late at night. I wasn't, you know, I was finally, my brain cells started firing on all cylinders, and I came up with a better idea. But the idea didn't allow me to have Godzilla kind of like come forward like here, because his head dives down, and after it does that, the main boy, his main body jumps up. And I gotta say, I really like how this turned out. He just looks so awesome. Look at this savage boy. So, anyway, he's swimming. He's out at sea. He's getting ready to face off against HEDORAH the Smog Monster. It's going to be a pretty intense fight. Probably the most intense stop motion fight I've done yet, with maybe a few exceptions. But it's going to be up there. It's going to get pretty intense, lots of body damage, lots of well, it's gonna, neither monster will be in perfect condition when this is through. It will not be a long stop motion project. I'm already working on one. It's called Gamera, Herald of Mothra. That's gonna take months, maybe longer, to complete. The stop motion is nowhere near done because I am a glutton for punishment, it would seem, and decided I actually would very much like to, I don't know, do more. So I kept adding more, and what I added, to be fair, was pretty cool. It's a lot of awesome stuff, but it also just adds a great deal to the production side of things. So this is why I'd likely make a very terrible um, director for a major production, because I would keep I'd be waking up to these like super inspiring nights where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect, let's do this thing. And to kind of add a little bit more, I got some water right here, but I'm going to be going over here in a bit where to put everything to make sure it's a bit more laid out. More layers would absolutely help here. Let's see what we can do with this. Okay, let's see if there's anything else I want to do here before we mosey along. Alright, so now you kind of get an idea of where I'm going with this. And I get the angle, the screen, it kind of... Keen-eyed viewers might be looking at this and thinking, wait a minute, this kind of looks a little off, right? Well, I do my VFX shots in 4K resolution, but the final cut is in 1080p, so that allows me to do zoom-ins or, switch from wide shots like this to medium shots or a close-up without losing the visual quality. So here I can control it later in post, where I can actually just have more of a close-up, like I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but I'm gonna focus mainly here, and then later I could pull back when he starts rising out of the water. Obviously, it was kind of hard. It would have... I don't know how I would have done it. I had to do the head close-up separately in relation to the rest of Godzilla's body here. I don't know how I could have done this all in one take. So, if anyone has ideas, now's your moment. And I can always come back, and maybe I don't like this water right here, so I could just replace it, do a little bit more movie magic here. I did a similar effect shot like this when I worked on this Godzilla taking on the Multiverse Heroes video I did last summer. That involved all kinds of characters, from Master Chief from Halo, Full Metal Alchemist, Batman, Cyclops, Charizard. They all have a nice, encounter with Godzilla out at sea. And then later the Green Ranger and Dragonzord show up, and that was a trip. Sean says Godzilla Minus One is both great for the franchise and bad. It's one of the best Godzilla films in the same category as Gojira, Shin, and JMK, but now a lot of people are dissing the not-so-serious movies. Well, again, I guess... I mean, I see where you're coming at this, Sean, but I don't think that's, like, the fault of Godzilla Minus One. I mean, that's just basically how people who are not worth our time of day behave. They can diss all they want. It's kind of like those to go off of what I people who are not worth our time of day. It's like those hack YouTubers. Now, I'm a hack YouTuber myself, but I don't grift. But there are hack YouTubers who grift to the point where they suddenly go, oh, well, Godzilla is suddenly becoming more part of the social zeitgeist. Now I can actually, capitalize because Godzilla Minus One's doing so well. So now I'm going to turn it into some, like, oh, look at this more traditional, amazing, manly movie. Or, just completely missing the point of just what Godzilla is. They're not really... I don't want to play the whole not a true Godzilla fan card, because Mothra knows there are tons of people like that in the community that, well, suck. The moment you disagree with them, they're so thin-skinned, they whine and cry, oh, you're not a real Godzilla fan, sniff, sniff. But, there are people who actually are not, and they are pretending to be in order to get clicks. But it's more of a serious, more, I guess, more macro example of what you were talking about, Sean. But I never see, crummy behavior as being some sort of, like, symptom of an otherwise great movie or work of art. It's the onus is on the people, on us to, control our feelings, our emotions, to behave. And if a great movie, unfortunately, is attracting all kinds of lunatics, then I don't like that. I don't want to conflate correlation with causation here. I don't think there's any correlation there. I just think these people would go off and find a different thing to serve as some sort of serve as some weird vendetta that they have that is seriously sad and depressing. But people are people. People are going to find reasons to just be upset and about just about anything, as opposed to, maybe, I don't know, finding ways to positively better their lives or something. Food for thought. But here we are. Okay, so right now I'm trying to look for some clouds. I'm gonna go with the one that I usually always go with, because I'm not really that creative or original. I also feel like this is a good placeholder until I could find out, if I decide I need a different background than this. Look at our boy swim. Oh, it's so cute. I might do another one here. again. Those that know me know that I am not really the best at multitasking, so if I suddenly stop mid-sentence, it's because I just, had an idea, or I need to focus. So please bear with me. I apologize. I do have shots of Godzilla's tail, so I might add that too, but we'll see. Sean says, I don't understand why people can't like both. If I want to watch a serious Godzilla movie one day, I'll watch -1. And if I want to watch a campy Godzilla movie, I'll watch The New Empire. Yeah, man. All the more power to you. And I don't understand why people can't like both. People have different sort of tastes. There are some people who have this idea, this notion that movies are purely works of art that requires significant thought and must have a sort of compelling, like it can only, it's like this sort of elitist notion of it's got to be my way or no other way, when in fact movies can be pure entertainment, popcorn flinging, laugh out loud riots. I mean, they can be party. I mean, I've had parties before where we're gonna watch a silly fun movie. I mean, I can't recall a time when I had a party where we're like, let's all watch a very serious movie that's going to make us think about how maybe we can better our lives, or something we can learn, or that sort of thing. I mean, I spent, like, in the early 2000s, I went to a film school and I learned a lot. It was good for what it was. And for our film history class, we spent 8 hours a day, basically, like, starting from the earliest films ever made to the most recent at that time. And we would be analyzing frame after frame for many hours of the day. So I see what some film, I'm just gonna call them film snobs, because that's what whether they know or care or whatever, that's how they come across. I see you guys and I raise you. I've studied this extensively. But Sean is right here. You can enjoy both worlds and then some. Like, you don't have to, like, pretend to be some film like Casanova that does not. It just doesn't register. It's not cool. It doesn't make your opinion better than others. Sean then adds, I've been called a fake Godzilla fan on Twitter because they disagreed with me on Twitter about Destroya. And Sean, when somebody calls you a fake Godzilla fan, now you have a choice. And, it's entirely your time. You decide what you want to do with it. But for me personally, if I'm just expressing myself and someone just doesn't like it and they want to call me a bunch of names, I'm not going to give them that time of day. At that point, I'm like, I'm gone. Like, I don't respond to people very much when they're being completely and utterly devoid of any semblance of decency, of respect. I get it, it's the internet, and Twitter is a real, or X, whatever we want to call it nowadays, but I call it Twitter. It's a cesspool, but it can also not be. I mean, it's like a YouTube comment section. Sometimes it could be a pretty, I guess, brain smashing inducing place, like where I feel like I'm getting psychosis, or I feel like I'm getting the bends, I don't want to be here anymore. But it's, you decide what you want to do. Do you feel like these people are worthy of your time? I mean, there's a time and a place to, you know, be assertive and pretty much make it clear to these people, like, especially if they're in your space, you know, yeah, I'm gonna draw a line. I don't appreciate your attitude. You're acting like an asshole. Knock that shit off. But a lot of these people also thrive off attention, whether it's negative or positive. It makes no difference. They could also be, you know, trolls. They're just in it for the LOLs. They get off on just on, you know, they're not looking. The fact that they're not really giving you anything worth engaging with should almost be enough of a clue, like that. I don't believe it's good to judge a book by its cover, but when I skip to a certain page and it's really terrible, like it just flat out is just very vindictive and seems to be written by somebody who has a very low standard, or they kind of expect others to behave in a way that they themselves aren't willing to match, then you know, the book belongs in the trash bin, so to speak. Godzilla agrees, see? He's just shaking his head at these people. But yeah, usually these people want your attention, and rule of thumb is I'm willing to bet 99%, like, or I'm willing to bet $100 that 99% of the time these people are not reasonable. You cannot reason with unreasonable people. It's just usually best to ignore them, because you hold that power. You hold the cards. You decide if you want to dignify these people with your time or not. If you believe that there could actually be a good conversation that can be salvaged here, then by all means, go for it. You know? Yeah. Usually not, sadly, but hey, you never know. Alright, so now we get the fun, the exciting time here of adding an extra set of eyes here. Oh wait, maybe I should make sure I got this down before I really... It's all about the timing here, and if every little thing that I do moving forward might make things so much more stressful. Okay, I think I like that. That should work out. Let's see. So the problem with doing eye glows is the moment you know, you start doing them, you kind of you're stuck with them, right? Congratulations, you're committed. Let's see. Okay. The fun part. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. We're going to have all the fun in the world with this part. I'm so excited. Can you all see how excited I am? Now, there could be a remedy around this. Some people would suggest doing like some tracking shot or something. I am more old school. I typically do this more not by hand per se, but by click. You know how earlier I said I used to study films like frame by frame? Well, I not only study frame by frame, I work frame by frame. Let me just make sure I got this setting too, just the way I like it. All right. In the interest of making sure things are just consistent here, can move these guys the way I like it. In case those of you are curious, I'm using the Super 7 Godzilla Minus One. I'm really quite satisfied with how, with this figure. Not bad articulation too. I mean, it actually has a lot of posability to it. It's been a long time since I've done a toy review. I'm not sure I'm gonna have time to do it. I have a pretty busy slate coming up, but you never know. Until then, I guess this could be a quick little, hey, you should maybe, if you're interested, do not hesitate. I say go for it. This is a great figure. Take a look at how these eyes are shaping up. Oh yeah, our boy looks good. Adjust our eye pupils just a tad. Okay. Now the good news is, unlike the moving head from before, that shot, this one, where that took me a long time to get all the eye glows just right and all their little masking paths, this one shouldn't take as long, so yay me. It's a good day. Oh boy. I have discovered a flaw. There we go. Make sure this is all consistent later too. Selfish question. First off, there are no such thing right now, Sean. Feel free to ask anything. Selfish question, but have you finished reading my Space Godzilla vs. Destroya thing? Not yet. There were a couple things that I thought was pretty interesting. I think you touched upon something that I've thought about actually making a video about, and it comes down to whether or not the oxygen destroyer would work on Space Godzilla. So I made a fan film a couple years ago called Mechagodzilla vs. Destroya vs. Space Godzilla. Spoilers, if you guys haven't seen it, you should. It's like one of the best things I've ever made, aside from my son. In it, Space Godzilla gets hit by the oxygen destroyer, and some people I noticed thought that wouldn't work because Space Godzilla is a space monster. He's a space monster, so something that destroys oxygen wouldn't really work on him. And the kind of person, the avid cosmologist in me who loves loves the periodic table and how hydrogen and such, helium, these are all very abundant elements. But anyway, where I'm going with this is pretty much you do realize just because he's a space monster doesn't mean he doesn't need oxygen, right? He, in fact, being a Godzilla clone means he very much likely has his cells need oxygen in some way. And in fact, funny enough, in my research, because the movie was kind enough to provide a diagram that shows Godzilla cells on one side and Space Godzilla cells on the other, and they even say they're exactly the same cell. That's really quite interesting to me. It kind of shows and it provides a bunch of little information regarding what's the mechanics of those cells in question. I, off the top of my head, forgive me, I don't remember every single little tiny thing, but I researched more and found out, yes, Space Godzilla's cells need oxygen, just like Godzilla's cells apparently do, just like we do. So, and the fact that Space Godzilla's blood is red kind of also shows, oh, yeah, the oxygen destroyer would most likely work on Space Godzilla. So you could maybe argue that Destroya, being the living embodiment of the oxygen destroyer, could actually theoretically destroy Space Godzilla. Being a space monster doesn't necessarily mean you're immune to, oxygen, or you don't need oxygen or something. I mean, quite a number of alien characters out there still need oxygen to survive. Hell, some of them are find oxygen to be poisonous, which at a certain point in our planet's history was actually the case. That's also really man, this conversation might shift and go off in so many different ways. But Sean, anyway, I do intend to read it more fully when I am able, because I love these sort of things. Toku Society, it's good to see you, man. How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in a million years on here. Man, what have you been up to? You've gosh. Sorry, my brain is trying to edit, but also think about the question that I was about to ask you, and now I can't remember. Sorry. Still, it's good to see you, and I hope you've been doing well. Just been hella busy all year? Oh yeah, man. Well, it's always great to hear from you. Any current latest projects going on? I can only imagine how like crazy busy you've been. Alright, so this is the last part right here. Let's just see if I can move everyone down ahead of time. Oh good, that one does eventually fade away. Okay, let's not worry about that for now. Oh, Sean mentioned -1 has crazy eyes. Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'd say they're pretty, you know, when it comes to Godzilla designs, or I should just say discussion on them, a lot of people typically focus on the dorsal fins, and why wouldn't you? It's like one of Godzilla's most distinct, you know, attributes. But the eyes are really what that can make or break a Godzilla design. And for -1, his eyes are just savage. Scary. I mean, the whole scene in question that my little stop motion treatment here, what am I trying to say? My tribute. There it is. My little stop motion tribute to that incredible sequence of -1 Goji chasing our characters on the, you know, on their boat, on their tiny little boat that out at sea, and is moments away from like eating them or smashing them or whichever. Yeah. There's so many great things about that whole sequence, but for me, it absolutely is thinking about the eyes the whole time, just the way Godzilla looks at them. It's also rare. Part of the reason why people maybe are very, it's rare for them to think about Godzilla's eyes, you know, it's not exactly topping their list of, you know, the things that I want my dream Godzilla design to be, is mainly because Godzilla very rarely pays attention to people. Obviously, he pays a ton of attention to other kaiju, but at that point, we're not really invested in Godzilla's eyes per se, because, you know, we're too busy, our brains are too busy trying to fixate on the monsters and the battles and such. But when we see Godzilla actually staring down at people, paying attention to them, our brains, because we're humans, you know, human brain, we're just like, we feel like he's looking at us, and that just makes it way more intense. Tokyo Society says, working on some video editing stuff for other people, helping out with a couple Ark Survival Ascended mods and various little personal projects. Right on. Happy for you, man. Sean says, Burning Godzilla is my favorite Godzilla design, but Godzilla 2001 has my favorite eyes. Oh yeah, both of those are pretty solid Godzilla designs too. Man, Burning Godzilla's eyes are just scary, but like, ooh. Okay, let's see how this turned out. Yeah, turned out pretty good. That worked out fine. Now, I have good news. In this shot, Godzilla is also charging up his atomic breath. So what I want to do first is get a read on his spines. I have a completely different shot. Do you guys want to see it? I worked on this. This is again, I should maybe dedicate an entire video to this, but like, hey, why not? You're all here. This is like hands down the most complicated shot I've worked on in so long. This was insane. Here, let me just make sure everyone can see it just fine. Excuse me. So, okay. So, this shot, this is like, okay, you see my mouse? I apologize if things are a little murky or hard to see. But basically, I like doing my VFX in like 4K, right? It makes it easier for me to like get ready to like you know, if I am doing something in 1080p, that's how my final cut is done in those resolutions. I can then come back and oh, I realize I did this as a wide shot, but I need a cool close-up, let's say on Godzilla's head here. And the idea is I'm going to start from, you see my mouse, I'm going to start on his tail, and I'm going to be moving up his body as his spikes glow. So it's going to be a rapid motion. It's why he's not moving too fast here, because it's going to be all, you know, done as a camera, right? We're going to be speeding along his back. So his tail is shot. I did this separately. I mean, it's all in the same like comp, but his tail, I did a lot of posability effects too. And then his body and oh my goodness, like I thought I would be cool and like instead of doing this all in 4K, I would try 8K. Maximum huge resolution, insane amount. That way I could really like it. I thought maybe it would be a lot easier for me to do this in post later, but nope, I was a fool. My poor computer died twice. Like it just shut down. It's like I can't do this. So I had to that, you know, when I had already hit the button, the render button. I was already finished, right? After like 2 days of work, I thought this is good to go. Nope, nada. So I had to go back and, you know, reduce the resolution down to 4K again, which means everything had to be not redone, but placed in a different spot position, if that makes sense. So I had to get everything to line up. And that was another day's work, and I was just, oh my god. Oh my Godzilla. 'Twas a mistake, and I learned it, but I am still pretty happy with how this turned out. Oh man, it's crazy how much time and effort this all goes in. But anyway, that shot happens kind of a lead up to, okay, so if we're going in order, we're gonna have the big G here. He's swimming along. He has his eyes on Hedorah. He's getting ready, so he's sizing him up right here, and then maybe about halfway through is when I'm going to like, yeah, maybe like right about here it'll cut to the scene I just showed you guys. And then when we come back, yeah, we can have them like do a bunch of cool stuff. Let's see, oh no, if I do that, that's gonna throw up my game. probably right about here is when I can have his spines begin to glow. I gotta admit, like, doing the spines is usually my favorite thing in the whole world. I love it so much. Might love it, like, a bit too much, if that's even possible. Let's take a good look at this guy first. Let's bring on my glow effect. Don't let me down. Make it look cool. Sean says, have to say, I love live streams like this. Thank you, Sean. Makes me feel like a true part of the Godzilla fan base. Hey, man, that means a lot. Thank you. I think good people like you are what makes this fan base, you know, what makes the Godzilla online community special. It's just about treating each other, you know, with respect and dignity, and just trying to, you know, go about our lives, liking the things, you know, enjoying the things that matter, like Godzilla. Not much is better than that. Okay, well, maybe a lot more, but, you know. Okay, let's see. So he moves like that. Okay, so we got Godzilla's dorsal spines here. They are, of course, Godzilla Minus One's dorsal spines are just so awesome. And what I find them really interesting is that they look like they truly were like we're looking at a creature that either has been around for who knows how long, millions of years, never needed. It's similar to like sharks. Sharks haven't really changed in the last hundreds of millions of years. They're practically like extremely efficient predators, living creatures that are well adapted to their environment, and they're apex predators for a good reason. Aside from like size changes and such, they really haven't changed a whole lot. And perhaps the same could be applied to Godzilla Minus One here, or maybe his species evolved and his spines just, they don't look clean, they don't look like they you know how some monster designs, like maybe for a quick example to give you an analogy here, it's kind of looking at Godzilla's teeth. Sometimes they look like, oh, he just saw the dentist. They look so clean, like they look wider than mine. My teeth look like I should definitely go see the dentist again or something. But like, I just think it's funny to see something like that for a giant monster. Like, wow, his teeth are amazing. But then you look at the spines and they're so messy. They're so like, they look so archaic. Truly like you're looking at something that has like just every part of it is a weapon. Every part of it is like a death-giving, just true monstrosity. It is some creature right out of your worst nightmares. And I love it. So gritty, very on the nose, super I'd say like very fitting as far as Godzilla designs go. I like the Minus One design overall. It's definitely one of my personal favorites. Don't move that. Come on. Oh, you're not gonna let me change that? Oh well. Oh man, I almost feel like I need to get coffee or something. Oh, dude. I am. Designs largely disappear here, so in a second we're gonna see some major crunch. These the masks that I've made are about to like think there was a. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but recently I think some news broke that the main characters from Godzilla Minus One are returning. The main human characters, and I guess this is something that Toho did not want to have released because the way in which the news broke was really quite remarkable. I think a coder went into the website and saw that their names had been listed or something, but you know, in coding you can also make things appear, you know, they could be part of the main body of code, but you can write a more extra code that keeps this information hidden, like on the web page itself. But I guess their names were left there, and after the news broke about this, you know, Toho had that information quickly removed, and that kind of all but confirms that Godzilla Minus One not only has a sequel, which wasn't news, but that it's gonna absolutely be a true sequel. Like, we're getting the original cast back, it looks like, which is great news, because again, I love these characters. Part of the reason why Godzilla Minus One means so much to me, and why so many other fans and just casual moviegoers love this movie, is because the humans were super relatable, endearing. But it also is a little bit scary they're coming back, because I kind of feel like a lot of their, with a few exceptions, they kind of, I kind of fear for them. I worry for them. I'm going to be real. I feel like a lot of their arcs have tied up, like they're what more could be done with them, right? So we shall see. I do think of the main cast returning, of the main characters, that might, you know, there's so much potential in terms of where do we go from here. I'd say Noriko has the most potential. I have talked about this in the past, but you know, I'm more than happy to kind of go over it. But I feel like the fact that Noriko's miraculous survival came due to having Godzilla cells in her bloodstream kind of makes me think that they could be setting her up as the main character moving forward, and there's so much potential where they could go from here. Now, I'm just an internet guy. I'm just, you know, I just make Godzilla YouTube videos, right? I'm not like this full on. I'm familiar with screenwriting. I've done screenwriting in the past. Nothing for a major production or anything that I'm sure most of you would be interested in knowing much about. But like, I'm nowhere near the skill set of the Godzilla Minus One crew. Let's just put it that way. I mean, obviously, like, in other news, water is wet. But like, as far as just throwing ideas out, you know, I kind of feel like Noriko could very well be this sort of character that could flirt with the idea of something like immortality, because with G cells in her body and the fact that Godzilla seems to be extremely long-lived, you know, with his healing factor, with his regeneration, it's kind of like the problem that Wolverine faces with his mutant abilities, because he is, you know, well, he extremely long-lived himself. He ages rather slowly. strange this is. I know there's likely a simpler way if any of my fellow VFX artists are in the house and they're cringing at what I'm doing. I understand. You could cringe away. I'm just trying to like anyway, I do think Noriko is the key moving forward. I don't know what else they could do with much of the other cast of characters. I feel like a lot of them, as far as character development goes, their arcs, you know, what they needed, I feel like they were all pretty much handled to perfection. Shikishima, his arc is pretty much done. His war is over, right? But the question then is, okay, so if Godzilla then returns, is he back on? Is he back in the plane, ready to go? I'd imagine so, because now he has even more to lose, considering if Godzilla returns again, his entire family is pretty much in serious jeopardy. Not that I think Godzilla like holds a grudge or anything, but like, what else can you do? And you know, the question also becomes from the more monster side of things, like, are we going to see Godzilla take on a new kaiju, a new enemy? Maybe it's going to be the return of an old favorite. Kind of hard to say. I did a video where I thought it would be really, really cool if they did a -1 treatment for Mothra, where instead of being the benign goddess that we all know and love, what if instead she was this menacing, kind of fearsome apex predator that used pollen to essentially mind control you into basically letting her eat you. And you know, the responses were mixed as expected. I mean, when it comes to characters that are very you know, who have been around for longer than not only I've been alive, but how longer than some of our parents who've been alive, you know, several generations here, right? I mean, not generations, sorry, several decades. Like, Godzilla's coming up to his 70th anniversary, I believe, or maybe he already has. Sorry, editing makes me, like, not really be cognizant of, you know, the specifics of things. But when you're talking about characters who've been around for a long time, right? Like, we all kind of we all say we want change, right? We want things to change in order to you know, kind of enjoy new things, right, about characters that we love. But we also kind of don't. We also kind of want things to be the same. It's a very slippery slope, you know, what I'm describing. I'm not really doing the best job, but I think everybody kind of gets where I'm going with this. And Mothra, you know, funny enough, she was originally not like a benign, she was depicted as a goddess kaiju, you know, the one of a kind. I mean, I know Godzilla has received the deity sort of status a number of times, but not like this. Mothra truly is like the first kaiju goddess, but just because she's a goddess doesn't mean she is, you know, inherently benign, especially to people, especially to you know, habitat destroying humans. But what I mean to say is she wasn't always like this peaceful, relaxing, wonderful being who has our best interest at heart. And even arguably, even in the Monsterverse, she's not exactly like that either. She is still first and foremost kind of like Godzilla's main lieutenant. But I do like the idea of her taking on more of a monstrous role, kind of more of a antagonist. It would be really cool to see that sort of thing, especially when pitted up against something like Godzilla from Godzilla Minus One. And it's also kind of like how, you know, for GMK, Ghidorah, who is generally a classic bad guy, and that's, you know, don't get me wrong, that's Ghidorah at his best, of course, but I really like it. I've since warmed up to Ghidorah being this, I actually like the GMK Ghidorah, and I like the idea of maybe not constantly, but it would still be really cool to get a bad Ghidorah, you know, or a good Ghidorah, I mean to say. Like, it's not, we shouldn't like treat this as like it's heresy to change these characters. I mean, change, but how? Like, what kind of change are we talking about? Godzilla has gone through so many changes over the years. Like, Godzilla himself, he's gone from being a nuclear metaphor to being a superhero, to being an anti-hero, a force of nature, a god of destruction, good guy, bad guy. Good, bad, I'm the guy with the atomic breath. Anyway, I think that same sort of we kind of accept that about Godzilla, and I think, you know, the same thing can apply to his amazing kaiju friends as well. That begins to cut off, so we're going to make the opacity go down, so this part is gone. Spines are surprisingly not taking too long. We did have to improvise a couple times, but that is totally cool. Totally cool. Trying to make things a bit more consistent here. Alright, I am getting hungry, so I think when I wrap this part up, I'll be calling it good. For now, of course. You never know. Might do another stream here soon enough. I do want to get back to doing more Gamera with you guys, because that's been a hoot. Charge it up. How come no one else is talking? Oh, well, I mean, it is a one-sided conversation. I am the only one with the mic, but do you mean like, why is no one else chatting? Well, they're just watching, listening along. I've had some people come in who like to just, they're busy. They have their other projects they're working on the side, and it's really nice to just unwind, relax. Sometimes I listen to other when I'm not streaming but I'm editing. I'm generally like listening. Like I have an AirPod in my ear. I might be listening to music. I could be listening to other live streams or other videos, podcasts. To each their own. And it's totally fine. Not everyone has to say anything if they don't want to. Alright, atomic spines are coming together pretty good. A couple adjustments I want to make. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a few adjustments here, and then I'm going to start early prep on getting Godzilla's mouth to begin to, glow like it does. It's really cool when he, does the whole atomic breath thing. But, after that, I'm going to skedaddle. It's just a couple things I want to, work on here that I feel like I need to, it bothers me, and if I don't fix it, it's going to drive me nuts. So that looks pretty good. Might have to go back maybe later and brush that up a little bit. What happened is there's like a limitation to how much I can mask out, especially when my subject is like really close to the top of the camera screen. So if I try to mask a certain area out while adding a glow effect, it like really looks like you can tell here's the limitation, here's the border, and it's a little definitely sketch looking. Of course, that was my mistake. I should have kept that in mind while doing the initial recording. But it is what it is. It's very minor. Of course, now that I've noticed it, it's kind of hard not to focus in on it, right? Okay. Let's see what we can do about Godzilla's, mouth. Oh yeah, that looks freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see if I can maybe finish this up before I head out. guess I'm gonna, while I tidy up here and get this just the way I'd like it, this project that I'm working on currently, it's pretty much just a good old-fashioned monster face-off. It's not going to be, let me put it this way, it's not going to be like a super long video. It's going to be short but pretty decisive. Lots of intense moments are on the way. I also feel like this, given that the Godzilla Minus One director Yamazaki has mentioned that he would like to do a movie, make a movie involving Hedorah the Smog Monster, there's some pretty interesting possibilities that might be the case. We might actually see Hedorah show up in the Godzilla Minus One sequel. Obviously, I don't know for sure, but I think, as far as potential classic kaiju returning, I'd say Hedorah is a pretty good safe bet to make. So I was inspired by that and the fact that while working on my current project, I tried to which current project? I have so many different projects I'm working on, but I want to try and stay alert. I want to keep, I want to stay busy, right? I want to keep things going. I want to keep the channel alive, and some of you might, have channels that, you might understand the grind. You might understand that if I were to spend maybe the next 7 months just working exclusively on my Gamera stop motion, there's a chance that even those of you who are really interested in it might not be notified because of the fact that now YouTube's algorithm thinks that Kaijutopia is not interested in activity anymore or something. So I just want to make sure not only to keep the content coming, but I want it to be good content. So I've been pretty focused on not like, I don't want to like just throw things out just to, just for the sake of it. Every project that I do, every upload, it's something that I put a lot of thought into and want to make sure it's, it lives up to your guys' expectations. I don't want to half-ass anything, if you catch my drift. And in a moment, I'll bring the glow effect back on so we can all just marvel at how freaking cool this is gonna be looking. Alright, I'm gonna do it now. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, look at that. Those teeth glow. Oh man. Hey, let's and with the eyes on too. Yep. Yep. We're going places. This is turning out great. This is so much fun. I know it's time consuming. It takes so long, but it's so right. And it's so satisfying to see like it coming together, right? Woo! Kind of reminds me, what is it? Like you go to the dentist and they add, what is it, fluoride or something to your teeth, and maybe they have to shine a certain light on it so it dries, or I don't know the full process, but that's what I was thinking of. That's what came to mind when I saw that. Let's see if I can. How's my memory, computer memory going. Not bad. I'll come back to that part in just a second. Godzilla is reacting like how I would react if I just smelled something so terrible that I need to blow it up with my atomic breath. I'm basically saying Hedorah, being the smog monster, yeah, he doesn't smell so good, so, you know, Godzilla's gonna, like, take care, throw away the trash. And just like that, I lost like half my audience. Totally, you know, reasonable. Makes sense. All right. Atomic glow. Woo, man. Yep. Yep. Great note to end on, I think. Wow. Wowzers. Alright, so what I'm going to do before I head out, before the stream ends, is I'm going to let this render load so you guys can see what we worked on today. And then, yeah. Let's make sure everything looks good on your guys' end. Maybe a little... Nope. Nope, not the right button. Okay. Well, it's going to be hard because Godzilla's going to, like, rise up, so... Well, I'm sure this will be fine. Okay, let's let this render. Oh, man. Now, as it's rendering, generally when this happens, if I'm really paying attention, I'm going to be like trying to pinpoint certain flaws, things I do differently. I'd be like, ooh, I got to get to that. And these are usually very minor, myopic details. They're not really that, like, in the great scheme of things, if I don't make these changes, will any of you notice? Will anybody? No, but I will, and it will keep me up late at night. That's the kind of person I am, and yeah, it can be tough, but here we are. Look at that. Whew. What do you guys think? I think there are a couple things I'm absolutely going to have to revise. There are some things that I absolutely need to look at again, but it's a good start. See what it looks like full resolution. All right, let's take one more nice look at our boy. Look at him. Oh, he looks so majestic, so amazing. Glad to have helped bring him back, bring him to life. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, and yeah, take good care of yourselves. I'll see you all.